So I often get asked about the start of the downswing and how we may want to feel that. What is the trigger to start that downswing? Great question. One that I think confuses a lot of golfers. One that I feel golfers do incorrectly. And one that I feel that there is variability in too, because there are definitely professionals that don't do what I'm about to tell you. So just bear that in mind. So while focusing on the lower body, what do we need to try and do to give us a better chance of just making this whole swing feel more fluid? So let's have a look at where we are in the top of the backswing. So we may feel, and I like golfers not to have a significant shift off the ball, because I feel that the more the golfer shifts off the ball, the more variability there is. And the more the golfer shifts off the ball, the more likely they are to hit the ground behind the ball. So once we put ourselves in this top of the backswing position, we're going to feel pretty centered, or that would be my preference. Now, in feeling centered, we may feel a little bit of pressure inside of that right heel. We might feel a little bit of pressure inside that left toe. We may do. So at the top, I definitely wouldn't want to feel weight on both heels. We'll be off balance. We'll likely then push the pelvis forward to stand up. We'll likely have very little shoulder tilt at the top of the golf swing. So this feeling, we've got a little bit of pressure in that we've got a little bit of pressure in that left toe, we've got a little bit of pressure in that right heel, and that's come because the right leg is straightened and the left leg is flexed. Very simple version. So we're going to feel this position, weight somewhat balanced in the middle, inside the right heel, inside the left toe. Now as we start down, we get a feel there's a little bit of pressure in that left toe, right? So that pressure, that feeling in that left toe is a real good springboard to then move away from that. So as we're starting down, we've got to the top. We're now feeling there's a little bit of weight, a little bit of movement into that left toe. And in the downswing, what that's helping us to do is we're looking at the point from the top to about left arm parallel to the ground. So we're talking P4 to P5. And in that point, we've got to manage to take the hips around 3 to 5 inches towards the target. So we've got to manage that. We've got to get that hip to move forward. So you can see, of course, we're going to start losing some of that feeling inside the right leg. We're moving into that left foot. But we also need to understand that our hip turn, which is roughly around 45 degrees at the top of the backswing, that's going to actually get back to pretty close to zero very quickly. So then that means that that weight, that pressure has moved from that front toe more towards that inside of the heel. So it's really key. This is a move that I think a lot of golfers get wrong, is they tend to go forward and then they tend to move onto both toes, right? So the pelvis tucks up, the shoulder tilt is lost, butt of the golf club rises the most, the contact may be toe or it may be heel. It's not a good recipe to hit golf shots great. So we've got to the top. We've started to come down, the weight started to push into that left toe momentarily, and then it's pushing into the left heel. We've done this, we've got to the top, the hips have moved forward 4 to 5 inches, and the hips have also turned from 45 degrees closed to relatively square. A lot of info, but a lot of this is just coming from what we're doing with the lower body. And if we look at that left toe, we've pushed into it to push out of it. And if we look at the left knee, we've gone from the top, and as a way for us to get that hip to move towards the target, that left knee's actually start to move towards the target too. So you can see how dynamic this movement starts to become. We've gone into the heel, we've pushed a little bit into the toe, the knees start to move forward. There's a kick start to get us to shift that hip towards the target. Now from here, we've covered key 4 to P5, we've pushed into that left toe, the knees move forward. Now we're going to start pushing away. Now imagine I was running at you and you needed to push me back. You wouldn't lean back to push back, right? And you wouldn't lean completely forward and stay forward. You would push forward and you'd be pushed back slightly. So that movement, that pushing forward, pushing back, we need to get into that toe to get out of the toe, right? So this is where a lot of golfers, I feel, need to learn just to press slightly into that toe and then move back into that heel. We're still doing everything that we're always trying to do. We're trying to move our weight towards the target, to move that low point ahead of the ball, but we're not stationary. There are golfers that do shift into the toe and stay into the toe. So golfers that have a swing direction or a club path more degrees to the right may find that they just keep their weight into that toe. You can do that. But what I'm looking at is if we're trying to swing relatively straight towards the target, the swing direction relatively straight towards the target, maybe swinging 2-3 degrees inside out, we'll find that it will help us to move that weight into the left heel. So multiple training aids, you can get one of these. They're called the force pedal. You can get half a tennis ball. You could roll up a sock. It all works, but definitely this is more professional than me using socks in my golf lesson. But if I put that, I'm going to position that under my left heel. So key's finding the right spot, okay? So what I'm going to feel, and I'm going to do this slow. There's never a rush to do this. I'm going to go swing to the top. Now I understand that my weight is going to feel somewhere between here and here. And as I start down, I'm going to feel that I momentarily push into that left toe before pushing into that left heel. Now, as I'm pushing into that left heel and pushing into that force pedal, I'm noticing that my knees are starting to move inwards. Common move of the golfer is the weight goes to the toes for too long. So that dynamic move of us pushing into the left heel is starting to help us extend the legs, extend the pelvis, help us to hit the ball higher and longer, help us to make the golf club swing to the right a little bit longer too. So I don't want you to confuse this with pushing into the left and staying in flexion and hitting low little cuts all day. Although there are certain tour players that can do that pretty well too. I love golf. There's so many variables in golf. Which one you choose is completely up to you. So I've said this a lot, but I'm trying to get the message across. We're going to go to the top. Feels like we're on the instep of the right foot. We're moving momentarily into that left toe. And from that left toe, we can push into that left heel. Don't mistake this with trying to open up. I'm really not trying to get you to turn as quick as you can. I'm just trying to get you to feel a way that we can keep that backside back, keep the knees moving away from the ball, work into extension without being off balance. So take the force pedal, take a rolled up sock, whatever you may, swing to the top, halfway down, you've pushed into the toe, you're pushing into the heel, you're extending. Don't hit these shots hard. I would even start without the ball. You swing back. Okay, I'm going to press and push. Press and push. And then once you do it, start to put a ball in there and make it the softest shot you can. Too often I see golfers that pivot around this part of the left foot. All right? It's not a nice look. Doesn't look right. But also it tends to be the golfers that shank the ball a lot that seem to do that. Yet when I see a lot of the professional golfers, you can see you don't need pressure plates to see this. You can really just look at a video of a golfer, and quite often you can start to see the heel of their shoe disappear a little bit. You can see in the downswing that the toe starts to push and then the heel starts to dig and the toes come up. Look at somebody like Tony Finau. Tony Finau, by impact, his toes are up in the air. Scotty Scheffler would not be world number one if he was in his toes and falling forward. But the fact that he's working away from the ball helps him center that golf shot so much better. So what you can do is take yourself a towel. This would just be another one. This is a very light towel. Pretty cool hosel rocket design. It's a golf fitting center in Hong Kong. But you could feel that you swing to the top, put the towel somewhere on your shoulders, and then from there, try and feel like, where are you going first? If you're going into the heel first, not a good move. We're going to go toe to heel, toe push into the heel. We want that springboard effect. So we go to the top, toe, heel. When you do this, try and get that towel to swing relatively straight towards the target as well. To the top, toe, heel. Top, toe, heel. Now you may have a more fancy training aid like this whip. Same again, you'd rest it on your shoulder. I wasn't intending to hit the ball, sorry about that, guys. What was my swing direction? Okay, same again. I'm top, feeling the toe, moving to the heel. I like it. Hopefully, guys, you've got a better understanding of what starts the downswing. Any questions, please put them in the comments. Definitely, there are different ways to do it. I'm not saying this is the only way to do it, but for a golfer who feels very stuck, very static, feels like they just don't know how to get started into that downswing. What is the move that kickstarts that downswing? Well, here you go. And now just one final closing thought on this one. A lot of the good players start to do this movement before they finish their backswing. So how about that? So you could even practice to some extent doing this before you finish going back. But don't do it too much. All right, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video.